Alhamdu, Alhamdulillahi, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi al-Kareem, amma ba'd, wa uzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri, wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today inshallah I'll be talking about the 3 P's and the 4 P's. This is the acronym I have used from Dr. Zakir Naik in one of his lectures. Well, to attain 3 P's we have to do the 4 P's. Now what are those 3 P's? Very important these three P's are: first P stands for pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy. The second P is peace in this world. And the third P is paradise in the hereafter. To attain these 3 P's we have to do the 4 P's. Of which the first P stands for purity in faith, that is Iman. The second P is piety, righteousness. The third P is propagating to Islam, like a dawah. And the fourth P is patience and perseverance. Now, to start with the first P, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to make him happy should be our first priority in our life. It should be the most important goal of our life, because that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. He's a Lord, He's a God, He's a creator, and it's inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That means to him we belong and to him shall we return. We belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we believe in him, we have to believe that we have to go back to him, because it's written in the Quran that this life is just a trial period, this is just a test, and ultimate life is the life of the hereafter. To earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala isn't very difficult, it's very easy. It's just our efforts and our actions that determines whether we are making him happy or unhappy. We have to be a good follower of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Islam to attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second P is peace in this world, which everyone wants actually. Most of us is unhappy, depressed, sad, dissatisfied in this world. Most of us are running after something in this world which ultimately makes us feel that void inside us. So the second priority which is going to be helpful to us is also to attain peace in this world. It's like if you are a good religious person and if you really target Islam and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, peace will automatically come to you. The third P is paradise in the hereafter. Paradise, Jannah. It's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's going to grant us after we die, depending upon our behavior in this world, our faith, and targeting that is really very smart and wise decision. And I would believe that if we do that, we are going to be successful in this world and hereafter, because if we are really targeting the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making him happy, that means we are actually getting peace in this world, and we inshallah might get paradise in the hereafter. But then our action is what determines whether we deserve it or not. Our action is ultimately that's going to lead us to all these 3 P's. So what are those actions? The first most important action is purity of faith, Iman. Believing in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very important. The pagan of Arabs did believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did believe that Kaaba is his house, but yet they had different god and goddesses there, and they used to do, they were like used to worship all of them. So it's not just important to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but to restrain yourself from kufr. That is not completely disbelieving in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kufr, but to restrain yourself from shirk, that is associating partners with him. Purity of faith stands for firm belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he is the only one and nobody is worthy of worship. That is purity of faith. Complete 101% belief that Allah exists, He is one, and He is the only one worthy of worship. No shirk, no kufr. Faith should be very strong, very importantly. Now, second is piety, righteousness. Just shahada or kalma is definitely important, but at the same time, what do we do? Like, for example, just believing that only because I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and doesn't worship anyone else, but if you don't follow His commands and you do exactly opposite of what He wants you to do, you are earning His wrath and you're making Him angry and you're going against His wishes and His commands. That means you cannot just sit there and say, okay, I have done kalma, that means I'm a Muslim, so I'm not going to pray namaz, I'm not going to do zakah, I'm not going to do hajj, and I'm going to do all the sins that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done against me, but only because I have done kalma or shahada, that means I'll be going to Jannah. It is not like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to believe in Him and wants you to believe in His words, that's Quran, and wants you to follow Him as well. Because our action determines our intentions, and our intention determines our action. Whatever we do, our intention behind that is what actually turns out to be. Praying namaz, why are you praying namaz? Are you praying namaz to show people? Or are you praying namaz because Allah has made it fard on you? It all depends. I mean, if you pray namaz to show people, you're not going to earn the rewards of it. But if you're praying namaz because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks you to do that, then you're earning the rewards for it. So basically following the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is important. Righteousness, being a good human being, following the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, following the sunnah of sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and making our life worthwhile. Our entire personality, our entire behavioral pattern should be based on Islam, the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of Aap sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ultimately that will lead us to righteousness. The third is propagating towards Islam. That means we have to call people towards Islam. That is dawah. Whatever we know, to the best of our knowledge, we need to pass on to the people, pass on the message as much as we can in the best manner we can. Propagating Islam, calling people towards truth. Again, it's like Suratul Asr. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, call people towards truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, the last P stands for patience and perseverance. We human beings are weak people. We have problems with our patience. We do turn out to be impatient quite sometime. So we need to strive to make ourselves patient. One of the most important thing that you will read in Quran again and again is about patience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has repeated again and again the people who save yourself from haram and be patient in this world is definitely going to be successful people. So the 3 P's, as I said, the most importantly, pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the second is peace in this world, and the third, paradise in this year after. To attain these 3 P's, 4 P important P's are purity of faith, that is iman. The second is piety, righteousness, that's constitute our behavior and our worshipping. The third P stands for propagating towards Islam, that is dawah. And the fourth P stands for patience and perseverance. I hope these 3 P's and the 4 P's are something that stays in our mind all the time, and we try to based on our life on these actions, and it's just a way of teaching or passing on the message. I hope this might help anybody who has listened to me, and if I made any mistake, I'm extremely sorry. May Allah grant us peace in this world, His pleasure, and paradise in the hereafter, and may Allah grant us to be a good human being and to be a good Muslim and accept our efforts. Ameen summa ameen. Subhanaka rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamu alal mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.